I just simply know and affirm that God simply is one power, one presence, one life, one heart, one body, one mind, one soul, simply oneness. I breathe into that. I celebrate that. I anchor in that. Yes, I matter. I am worthy. I emanate that love, that power of the oneness. And what I absolutely know is that is true for each and every one of us. We are so blessed. We are so loved. We are so needed. And I know that God has its fuller expression because we said yes to this life. We say yes to this day, this January 1. We say yes to living full on. And what I know and realize for each of us as we set our intention for this glorious new year, this time of opportunity, is that God is with us, co-piloting, championing us, cheering us on as we set the intention. There is such enthusiasm as God co-partners, co-pilots with us. And I celebrate that and know that all the work, all the enthusiasm, all the opportunity are ours, just for the mindset, just for the speaking out loud. And with that, I give great, great gratitude for this glorious day, for this glorious community, for the opportunity to intend for our next year. I just stand and breathe in this glorious sanctuary with such gratitude for the gifts that have come from 2020 and for all that I know will be revealed and celebrated in 2021. And in that, with deep faith, deep love, and deep purpose, I simply release this prayer into the law, trusting it, knowing it will be manifest because I have spoken my word for myself and for all listening. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Laura Jacob, prayer practitioner. Thank you, Tom Litch, for the beautiful music and getting us going today. Thank you to our production crew for spending part of their New Year's Day morning with us. And thank you for joining us this morning for we are so glad 2020 is over, workshop celebration. No, I'm kidding. It's all about stepping into 2021, although there was that feeling this morning, gosh, can I take my mask off now? Can I go and hug people? Not quite yet, but I know that we're getting there. And this intention setting workshop is a labor of love for me. You know, an essential term in our teaching is co-creation. You know, we don't quite fully believe in divine destiny in our teaching, that everything is set in the stars and works through fate, nor do we fully believe in the sense of free will that everything is up to us as an individual, what we experience in our lives. We believe that we work together with the sacred to co-create our lives. And so this workshop that I have done for many years, and I'm so grateful to do here with the Greater Mile High Church community, is all about connecting with your sense of the sacred, as well as through self-inquiry, connecting with your own deep desires and intentions. And together we can weave and build a tapestry. We can lay the foundation for a powerful 2021 that's set from our consciousness and our intention, and not just the crap that might be going on around us in our experience. And what I know for you today is right now is an opportunity to connect with, call it a divine presence, call it a divine possibility, call it just your heart of hearts. This day is an opportunity to celebrate that divine quality of brand new life as we set forth to really commit to living this year creatively in relationship with a divine source, and again, not just the stuff that might be going on around us. And so we have a great program today. We're going to be doing some meditation here briefly. We're going to be looking at the year that was, intentions that were kept and created, and some that maybe are still in process. We're going to bring in Daniel Nahmod, one of the great spiritual performers that I know of, incredible songwriter, and we're going to hear some music from him, but also talk a little bit about some wisdom for setting intentions. We're going to do an envisioning, where we tune into our inner voice and come up with ideas and visions and images and feelings for our 2021. And then we'll be setting our intentions in place, solidifying them, saying them out loud so that we can set forth to achieving them with great inspiration. Also today, for those that are watching live, when the workshop is complete, there's going to be 3 incredible Zoom workshops that you can attend, facilitated by our prayer practitioners. We're so grateful. Anyone who knows me knows that I love to utilize quotes, both in workshops and in classes. And if you were all here, you would all come and grab a quote out of the bowl to help set forth your 2021. And obviously it's going to be a little bit different this year. We're going to have a meditation around quotes, but if you go to the webpage where you may be watching this right now, but if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, if you just go to milehighchurch.org to the classes page where this workshop is, you'll find 2 worksheets there. The first is a worksheet for our session today that you can go through and write. It's a fillable PDF where you can print it out and touch upon it later. And there's also a long list of quotes, and even a way to divinate, we might say, quotes for your spiritual healing, for your spiritual growth, and for your everyday life. Now, all you really need for this workshop is something to write with and on, so if you can't get access to those, don't worry about it and just hang with us. But I want to begin this morning by connecting us with the sacred through quotes, through great wisdom. It's another thing I love about our teaching, is that we don't discriminate against wisdom. Wherever it comes from, we like to draw it in. And so just beginning today, just invite you to get into an open place. Perhaps we might even say an intimate place with your heart, with life around you, with your understanding of divinity, and just take in these beautiful quotes read by some of our beautiful Mile High ministers. Quotes for spiritual healing.
Whatever you have forgotten, you can remember. Whatever you have buried, you can unearth. If you are willing to look deep into your own nature, if you are willing to peel away the layers of not self you have adopted in making your way through the tribulations of life, you will find that your true self is not as far removed as you think. Meredith Jordan.
There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged, to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. Nelson Mandela.
Courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtues consistently. You can't be consistently fair or kind or generous or forgiving, any of these, without courage. Maya Angelou.
When we live superficially, when we are always outside ourselves, never quite with ourselves, always divided and pulled in many directions by conflicting plans and projects, we find ourselves doing many things that we do not really want to do, saying things we do not really mean, needing things we do not really need, exhausting ourselves for what we secretly realize to be worthless and without meaning in our lives. Thomas Merton.
We arrive in this world undivided, integral, whole. But sooner or later, we erect a wall between our inner and outer lives, trying to protect what is within us or to deceive the people around us. Only when the pain of our dividedness becomes more than we can bear do most of us embark on an inner journey toward living divided no more. Parker Palmer.
Quotes for spiritual growth.
Knowledge has entertained me, and it has shaped me, and it has failed me. Something in me still starves. In what is probably the most serious inquiry of my life, I have begun to look past reason, past the provable, in other directions. Now I think there is only one subject worth my attention, and that is the precognition of the spiritual side of the world. And within this recognition, the condition of my own spiritual state. Mary Oliver.
Nature loves courage. You make the commitment and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. It will lift you up. This is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is the shamanic dance in the waterfall. This is how magic is done, by hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a featherbed. Terence McKenna.
It will take time daily to send better and more perfect you. You will pass from death into life, from lack and want into greater freedom, from fear into faith.
Human beings are not born once and for all on the day their mothers give birth to them, but life obliges them over and over again to give birth to themselves. Gabrielle Marquise.
While you are continuing this practice, week after week, year after year, your experience will become deeper and deeper, and your experience will cover everything you do in your everyday life. The most important thing is to forget all gaining ideas, all dualistic ideas. Then eventually, you will resume your own true nature. That is to say, your own true nature resumes itself. Shunru Suzuki.
Whatever may be the tensions and stresses of a particular day, there is always lurking close at hand the trailing beauty of forgotten joy or unremembered peace. Howard Thurman.
God is contained even in a drop of the ocean, and yet not even the seven seas can compass God. Mohandas Gandhi.
I have patient with both friends and enemies. You accord with the way things are, and compassionate towards yourself. You reconcile all beings in the world. Lao Tzu.
Quotes for everyday life.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Steve Jobs.
Love the moment, and the energy of the moment will spread beyond all boundaries. Coretta Kent.
Adventure isn't hanging on a rope off the side of a mountain. Adventure is an attitude that we must apply to the day-to-day obstacles of life, facing new challenges, seizing new opportunities, testing our resources against the unknown, and in the process, discovering our own unique potential. John Amott.
Love should come first. It should be the beginning of and the reason for everything. Gerald May.
Many of our fears are tissue paper thin, and a single courageous step would carry us clear through them. Brendan Francis Behan.
You can believe that you are neither a slave to inspiration nor its master, but something far more interesting, its partner, and that the two of you are working together towards something intriguing.
Us is probably the very element which would, if it were shared or expressed, speak most deeply to others. Carl Rogers.
We settle in the sheep turds because that's where the fruit trees grow. And with a little work, the fruit tastes pretty damn good. Some people settle with a field or a flock, some with a stick or a shovel, and some on a bench, chair, or cushion. Once you learn to settle the mind, you can settle anywhere and begin to cultivate the scenery. Then you might realize that the ground of your mind is the very ground of this earth, where your feet find the path and the future appears in plain sight. It dawns like the faint glow of an early morning. Even before you open your eyes, you know it's the sun. Karen Miller.
Just as you would not neglect the seeds that you planted with hope that they will bear vegetables and fruits and flowers, so you must attend to nourishing the garden of your becoming. Jean Houston.
We move an idea of the ladder of greater believing by taking it to the core of ourselves and actually becoming it. Roger Teal.
Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. The Tao Te Ching.
Thank you to our Mile High ministers for reading those. For me, it's like going to a spiritual gas station and getting filled up. I don't know about you, but 2020 in some ways was a year of nonsense for me. I heard more nonsense in 2020 than any other year in my life. And so it's a reminder with these beautiful quotes that it's up to me what I'm listening to. And I love to begin intention setting for the year by choosing some guiding quotes. And so if you have the first page of the worksheet or just your paper and pen, the first part of this process is to identify some guiding quotes. And you could have chose any that you hear here. If you use the quote worksheet, there are quotes for spiritual healing, spiritual growth, and everyday life that you can randomly choose based upon your birth date, your birth month, and how many years you've been on your spiritual path. And so you can fill those out. And what you'll notice in this worksheet is, I guess it'd be boring to create a lot of just blank space. And so a lot of these things you may want to star and kind of return to later. But I highly suggest either choosing yourself or using that intuitive process to choose some guiding quotes for your life. My quote for everyday life, because I've been on the spiritual path since I was 14, so it was 26 years, is "You are precisely as big as that which you love and precisely as small as that which you allow to annoy you," from Robert Wilson. So that'll be a great one for me to remember day to day in my life this year. The next step of this process is to take a look at our 2020. Many of you may have participated last year in our intention setting. Many of you may have set some goals, either consciously or perhaps unconsciously, for your life. And now's the time to take a look at what we accomplished this year, and perhaps as well what wasn't accomplished. And so there's a spot on the worksheet or on your piece of paper to just take a couple minutes to write down some intentions that you made and accomplished this year. For me, it's often a great idea to kind of free write on this, to not think about it too much, because I'm someone who can sometimes keep myself from acknowledging my accomplishments. And one of the best pieces of advice I ever actually got was to celebrate my successes. And so as you're just taking a couple minutes to write some things that you accomplished this year, I also invite you to note, did I do anything to honor that accomplishment, to celebrate it, a ritual, a sharing with someone, or just a couple deep breaths? So just take a moment to practice that. And you can listen to me or mute me while you're writing these. But for me, one of my main intentions for the year, I called it to be more intimate with now. And before I came to Colorado from my beautiful congregation there in Seal Beach, there was a wonderful man named Larry Sen who pulled me out of the minister's line there. And he said, Josh, I have some advice for you. Don't be afraid to be intimate with people. And it was really powerful, and I've really taken it as a guide coming here to Mile High Church. And my goal has been to be more intimate with others in my sharing, to be more intimate with myself, more trusting of myself, and to be willing to be more intimate in the moment, to notice defense mechanisms that may come up that keep me from living now. And so I feel that I still have a long way to go with that intention, but that's something I accomplished this year. Another intention for me was to be a good minister. And 2020 unfolded in a very different way, but my goal was to be a humble leader and to really try and ingrain my personal ministry in the church here a little bit better. I didn't know we were going to have a coronavirus pandemic, and so at times it's felt a little bit more like crisis management is a wonderful job as opposed to just ministering. But one of my goals that I said last year was to have a genuine impact on 10,000 people. And although it probably happened very different than I imagined it, I think in some ways I was able to do that because of getting to work with Dr. Michelle and the incredible team and you here. So those are a couple important intentions, and being a good husband and dad, always room for growth there, but I was satisfied with that. The next part of the worksheet is to acknowledge some intentions that perhaps were not fulfilled in 2020. I don't like to free write these because I don't want too long of a list. And it's funny, I think most of us are more apt to know the answers to this second question than the first, but just take a moment, being gentle with yourself, to note things that you wanted to accomplish this year that you were unable to. A lot of mine were around travel, which wasn't my fault, but I didn't get to do personal retreats. That was a big intention, was to 4 times a year just go somewhere 24 hours by myself and read and meditate and get grounded. So I didn't meet that intention. And again, as you're writing your own, you can choose to listen to me or not. Another big one for me was I wanted to write another book this year. I like to write a book every other year. This past year was the year to do it, and it just didn't get done. And I'm on my way, and so I'm not hard on myself about it, but different things called for different attention and focus. And what I often notice with these intentions that I didn't meet, it wasn't that the desire or the will wasn't there, but I wasn't quite able to give the environment, the space, and the time. And it's such an important reminder as we're moving into setting intentions for 2021. It's not just what do I want to accomplish, is it I am giving the space and the time for my creative call, for my desired intention, for my authentic space. Because unless we're willing to give ourselves that, our intentions will be fine and dandy, but they'll never meet the material world. Sometimes there's also intentions that I've set that I'm glad I didn't accomplish. And as we'll talk a little bit about later in the workshop, it's so important that we seek to set our intentions from a place of our wholeness and our well-being, as opposed to from a sense of our brokenness, our not enoughness. And I can often see when an intention doesn't work out, how it could be set more in low self-esteem, as opposed to knowing my connection with a greater source. My friend and our music director, Tom Litch, is here today, and I just thought I'd invite you, Tom, wherever you are. There you are. If you, my friend, had any intentions that you were proud of this year, or any intentions that you perhaps didn't quite complete, here he comes. I like the red sweater, by the way. Red and blue.
Thank you. My wife says, red is your color. Yeah, I was just writing that down because I'm enjoying this workshop as well. Let's see. Yeah, there was actually a big intention that I had for 2020 that didn't happen. In March, I was set to and we don't want to just tell your descendants, hey, he used to be a musician. Oh, really? Anything I would have heard? No, he never got around to that. So it is important to me. And the day that we were set to launch the Kickstarter was the day that we got our stay-at-home orders and that we had to go to virtual services. And so I just sort of blessed that and said, you know what, this is way more important. But I know that for 2021, that is an intention for me to get back to that priority of doing a CD before, I'm not here anymore.
Yeah, I love that you shared that, Tom. And I also love your love of tennis. And Tom sometimes goes to tennis camp. And so when he comes back, I hope that he always has stories that start with one time at tennis camp with some adventure for us. But I love that you shared that intention about your album, producing that. And there's a thing that we say sometimes in our teaching, now or not now. And I love that. And it means that our intentions are always right, but sometimes the when isn't always the right time. And you simply made a choice, from my perspective, that probably not the best time to invite people to give money to this project at the start of the pandemic. And that might be changing now, but it's a good lesson for all of us, is just because an intention doesn't accomplish itself in 2020 does not mean that it can't be front and center for your 2021 and being prepared, to move with whatever happens.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Is I didn't cancel it, that's for sure, but I just said, not right now. There are higher priorities in this moment. And yeah, Josh and I, we like getting on the tennis court. The two of us, we like hitting a ball together for sure. And I really
when
like,
I can hit the ball. Yeah,
you do great. But yeah, I love tennis camp, and I will try and work that into my my stories a little more often. One time at tennis camp.
We can begin a sermon that way at some point too. And so again, be gentle with yourself on these intentions, but I invite you to go back and to really honor yourself for this year. It has been a damn difficult year for so many of us, and many of us have achieved incredible blessings during this year. I don't mean to say that it was all bad, but I don't think any of us have not been called to adjust, to go with the flow, and to learn to a greater degree, not only to take care of ourselves, but to those around us. And so even if it was keeping a positive attitude this year, an intention perhaps that you thought would be easy at the beginning of the year, I just invite you to really honor yourself. And so in a little while, we're going to be moving into an envisioning process for 2021. And I use that word envisioning because it's a process of really connecting with the sacred in us to come up with ideas loosely for 2021. It's not designed immediately to write whatever our specific intentions are. It's really listen to the sacred voice. And I've got a great friend that's going to help lead us into that process. His name is Daniel Nahmod, incredible songwriter, incredible human being that we have from time to time here at Mile High Church. And he is a wonderful musician, so he's going to play a song for us. I had a little bit of a conversation with him, and then he's going to set the stage for our envisioning. You don't need the worksheet itself for the envisioning, just something to write with and on. But just as soon as that video is over, we'll begin that process. And so please join me in welcoming Daniel Nahmod. Mile High Church, please welcome Daniel Nahmod. So grateful to have you as a guest, Daniel, for our 2021 intention setting today. And I've asked you to dig deep within to find a special song to share for us for the new year.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. Happy New Year, everybody. I have a serious, contemplative, introspective, maybe even melancholy song to sing for you right now that I feel will really set the tone for our conversation to come. There's the kind of life when every choice you make's the safe one, predictable, when every moment's like the last one, everything even slightly barely scary is locked away. It's the kind of life where your engine's never gunning, sitting tight. I know your heart is hardly running. Nobody better be messing with the schedule for your usual day. Then there's the kind of life where your prodigal may never come, where your dream's so big it's never done, where your work feels less like work than fun. Tell you what I want, that one, that one. That one, I will fail and I'll succeed, I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery and time will always tell. Look at me, going a million different directions, messy me, I call it perfect imperfection. Don't bother asking me where I'm headed, cause I really don't know. No, crazy me. Today I may become a rock star, then again it would be so cool to drive a NASCAR. Tomorrow I might decide to wrestle crocodiles for Nat Geo. You don't need to say that my prodigal may never come. I know, blah, blah, blah. My work is never done, but if a life could be never-ending fun, tell you what I want, that one, I want that one, yeah. Give me the kind of life where wrong is sometimes right and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, oh yeah, that one, I'm doing what comes naturally. I don't want to live like no one else. Gotta be true to me. Always be true to me. Yeah, that one, I want that one, oh, give me the kind of life where I'm kind of blind and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, not some boring, ordinary, flat one. I will fail and I'll succeed, I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery, yeah, that's the life for me. Oh, that's the life for me. That one. There you go.
Thank you, Daniel.
Sorry, so serious, Josh.
We are. We're going deep today.
Yeah, we're going
But, so grateful you're with us, Daniel. Not only because to me and to so many, you've been the premier songwriter in New Thought for the last 20 years. Your music is such an essential part of so many of our lives. And something a lot of people don't know, who know you and who know me, is that you and I are close personal friends as well. We've actually spent almost every Friday on the phone for 30 minutes to an hour supporting one another in intention. So it was only fitting for me to invite you to this workshop today to talk a little bit about intention setting. And you're so funny. You actually created this great form for creating intentions together for our year. And I'm going to ask you to share what that was with the guest that you have no memory of this incredible system that you created.
I don't know what you mean. Are you accusing me of being a scatterbrain person who wrote that last song and completely meant every word of it?
I'm accusing you of being a genius who's always on to the next thing. Yeah,
absolutely. I know that's what you meant. Well, I know that what we originally talked about 6 years ago, you say, and I believe you, 6 years ago, what we originally talked about was the difference between status quo and future. Status quo and a new thing.
Yeah, and
remember how we job, even loved about my job, but I was also aware that there were things I'd been putting off, telling myself someday for a long time, and had not made even small incremental steps towards those things. Years were sliding by. The status quo was great. Status quo. I would summarize my job as singing nice songs for nice people. It's really a good life. I mean, it's a good life. I've been fortunate to make a livelihood, no complaints. But if I'm honest with myself, which I certainly have been with you for 6 years, there are goals I have that the status quo ain't gonna get me there. Even if it's something as specific as winning a Grammy or even being nominated for a Grammy, no offense to any house of worship I've ever performed at, but those are not pathways to that, right? Or breaking into, I've had music on TV and film a fair amount, but there hasn't been a major breakthrough usage of a song. That requires sustained effort, not necessarily as a full-time job, but sustained effort in a certain direction. We were both clear would get you there. And ignoring it and allowing time to float by doesn't get you there. So we have been in an ongoing conversation in some sense about the push and pull between managing a very good status quo, because of course you have an amazing job as well, right? Managing an excellent status quo that nothing to complain about fundamentally, but also to not forget that there's something out there that if I allow years and decades to go by without acknowledging and without working towards even small steps, long term they play out and I head in that direction, or at least I bear fruit one way or another. And you and I also know that we're not actually in charge of the outcome of these efforts, right? It's not to, I can set out with the destination in mind, and other people would disagree, right? Some people would disagree. They would say, focus on the red bicycle, and the red bicycle magically appears. You know how I feel about that idea. I don't believe that it's true. I believe that it's true that if you focus on the bicycle, get a part-time job, earn the money for a bicycle, go buy a bicycle, that a bicycle shows up. I believe, I was not raised with that attitude, and I don't have that feeling about it. But I absolutely have the feeling that the decision to incrementally, realistically, reasonably step towards the goal bears fruit. The good kind of fruit. Not necessarily the fruit you think you're going to pick, but good fruit nonetheless. And that has borne out for you and for me consistently.
It's a great guide, and in many ways you've done that. And choose some Daniel Nahmod music for your year. My two favorite albums are Cornerstone and Your Water record, but they're all great. You can go to danielnahmod.com and pick one up, or Spotify, etc. But Daniel, with intentions or just for the group watching, are there any other tips or rules or guides that you would like to share with everyone today?
You know what? There's one other suggestion I'll make as your group, as you all continue in this process today, and that is I'll pass along a bit of wisdom from the smarter half of my marriage with my wife. This is Melina, who is a practical and clear-minded, where I am scatterbrained and a little bit of a dreamer. And there's, of course, in our marriage and in our family and in the world, a very good and appropriate and important place for both approaches to things. For Melina, what she's interested in is not what's on your to-do list, but what's on your you'll actually do list, right? So you can write down, if you're like me, and Josh, I know you're not this way, but I accumulate our heads. I mean, it literally is just out there for all the world to see. So if I were to write on my to-do list, clean my mess, right? As a New Year's intention. Clean the mess in my studio, clean my car, clean my closet, for God's sake. I mean, it's all a mess, right? Go through my papers, something vague and important like that. I mean, real, it needs to happen. Sort through my receipts, whatever it is, right? I could write that down on my to-do list and check with me in 6 more years, and I still will not have done it. You know how I know? Because it's been on my to-do list for 20 years probably, or 30 or 40. It's in my nature to make the mess, and it's in my nature to want to sort through it, but it's not in my nature to tackle something so large on a to-do list. What is in my nature is if my to-do list says clean one drawer, right? Go through one file. Don't clean the whole car. Honest to God, it's that bad sometimes. Just the back seat. So this is Melina in my head, my wife talking to me in my head, saying, don't write down something that you intend to do, plan to do, want to do, yearn to do. But if you write down, not write my book, but write a sentence. You know, Melina will ask me, and I'll sometimes ask people in the retreats that I host, will you go home and write a sentence? And you could feel the relief. Yeah, I could write a sentence. Okay, good. Because if you write your book, what's going to happen? And then you usually feel the person say, yeah, I'm not going to write my book. It's overwhelming. I don't know how to write a book. But you know how to write a sentence. So that would be the only thing I would drop into the mix as you process at things today, is to, while dreaming, while visualizing, while going deep, while wanting the world to be healed, while wanting your body to be healed, your relationships to be better, ask yourself also, what will I really do? Who would I really call? What am I really prepared to say out loud? You know, and it can reframe and make much more practical and hopeful, really, the conversation you're having with yourself. If you've identified something that tomorrow you can actually see yourself doing, it's different than a big, grand plan, at least in my experience. That's what I would suggest.
Beautiful sharing, beautiful insights, and I know you're going to play us into our envisioning process for 2021 right now, but I just want to say that for you, in the pursuit of your dreams, for so many of us, you've helped us figure out. I meant what I just said. So, we're about to go into our intention envisioning process, so just invite you to grab a journal, a pen, something to write with and on, whatever it looks like for you. Get into a comfortable place, because when this is complete, I'm going to lead us through that, but Dan is going to set the tone like nobody can for us, so thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you, too. Here we go. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing light so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deep, deep, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm dying. Sing with me. Get ready, my soul. Diving in. I'm diving in the deepest kind of love, to the deepest kind of love, sweetest kind of life, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
So know right now that there is no one and nothing else present but your own soul. Give yourself the gift of being with your soul right now. No need for to do this and what you're doing later. No need to process anything that happened before. Give yourself the gift to be fully present. Keeping paper and pen close by. We prepare to listen to our soul, recognizing that the soul doesn't always speak English. It may not speak to you in complete sentences. It may speak in feelings, in words, in images. But just be in a place of divine listening. And I invite you to ask your soul, your connection with a divine creative power. What is the grandest idea for my life in 2021? What is my grandest idea for my life in 2021? Just allow your soul to reveal to you whatever it does without judgment. See it, feel it, listen. What is the grandest idea for my life in 2021? If it feels good and comfortable, just make a note of what's come up for you. and listening to the voice of soul, also ask, what is the theme for my life in 2021? For my life. Knowing that as we connect with our soul, we are co-creating our life with the divine ideas, divine potentialities, and a divine partner in the sacred. What is the theme for my life in 2021? The next set of questions has to do with 4 different areas of our lives. And the first is success. Success in 2021. What is the highest possibility for my success in 2021? What's it look like? What's it feel like? What's it taste like? What are you doing? Who are you with? How does it feel? Ask yourself as well, what must I let go of to realize this vision this year? What am I being called to release? Bad habit and negative thought, attachments that perhaps served me once but do no longer. What must I release to achieve this vision of success? And also ask, what am I called to more boldly step into to realize this vision of success? What must I more boldly step into? Recognizing that all of the possibilities of success are right there, but I must be willing to be a conduit for them. Our next area is relationships. Just connected with our soul, no one else but I and soul. Ask, what are the grandest possibilities for my relationships in 2021? What are the grandest possibilities for my relationships in 2021? Is it healing and renewal? Is it forgiveness? Is it intimacy and joy? Is it true partnership? Is it letting go? What are the grandest possibilities for my relationships in 2021? Now ask your soul, get closer to it, let it get closer to you. What am I called to let go of so that this vision can realize itself in my life? What must I stop doing? What must I stop accepting as acceptable? How much of my authentic self am I truly being called to be? What am I called to let go of? To achieve a new level of beingness in love with others. And also ask, how is my soul calling me to step up to realize this vision, to embody and embrace and accept, to let go of the inhibitions and lack of trust, to step more boldly perhaps into greater trust, courageous communication, asking for support, a willingness to express an unfettered joy. What is my soul calling me to more boldly step into to realize this vision of relationships? Our third area is self-care. And just merging as close as possible with our soul, perhaps to the point that we see there's no difference between us. Ask your inner voice, your spiritual call. How am I called to best care, love, and nurture myself in 2021? How am I called to best care, love, and nurture myself in 2021? Perhaps you can even feel a bit of that nurturing and care and love right now because you've given yourself this space. Taken the defenses down. To feel that inkling of the future, which is not an unknown place, but simply an unrealized potential already so the very heart of your being ready to come forward. Ask yourself, your soul, what do I need to stop to better care for myself this year? What do I need to stop? Perhaps I need to stop visualizing what I think the perfect body is and accept the body that I have as perfect the way it is. Perhaps I need to eat better and exercise better from a place of loving instead of scorn or judgment about myself. Maybe a list of serious things or perhaps even silly things. Just listen and allow to come forth those messages about what it's time to stop and to cease doing to better care for ourselves this year. And also ask, what am I being called to embody in a greater way to care for myself this year? How am I being called to step up? Is it to be more regimented and routinized? Is it to be ready to have less scheduled, more time just to be, to listen, to wander? Is to make sure those spaces in my life are declared as sacred, intentional, and meaningful? Is it time to stop binging Netflix and start binging on my greater good, my greater health, my greater sense of well-being? With a little Netflix binging in between. The final area, the fourth area today, is fun. Or if you prefer, joy. Let your soul remind you that this life is for fun, for joy, for the richness of sacred experience, and ask, how can I best visualize enjoying my life this year? How can I best visualize having a great 2021? What does it look like? What am I doing? Who am I with? How does it feel? And what would your soul have you know about what you must let go of to step into this greater joy? To let go of the stress, the weight, and the pressure. Let go of the resentments and the need to be angry or judgmental. To begin to release those layers of distrust that perhaps have kept us from living from our heart. What is your soul calling you to let go of? The need to be right and to know it all. These are all things on my list, by the way. And also ask, what is the courage my spirit calls me? Courageously step into this joy. Am I willing to put not the to-do list, not the list of worries, not the resentments of the past or the worries of the future, but my joy at the center of my life, as the foundation of my choices, as the heart in which I treat other people? can I damn the drama and choose to live in joy? Just invite you to take a moment to thank your soul, realizing that when you do, you not only thank God, but you acknowledge the deeper reaches of yourself, the parts of you you have always been and always will be, yet perhaps you haven't fully let in to your consciousness, to your body, to your waking days. Just allow, as we close this part of our process, to a greater bonding with the many deep layers and truths of who you are, often forgotten perhaps, but so easily remembered when we give ourselves the space to listen, approaching with that willingness to grow. So in gratitude for this process, I just invite you to take a moment, and I thank Tom for continuing to play for us here for a bit, just to make that might be coming up. And whether you have paper and pen or the worksheet, the next 2 pages, you'll see a place that says, what is my theme for 2021? You don't have to get it exactly right now, but just put some of those words, put a sentence or two, see what shows up. You can come back to it later. But how bitchin' it would be to have a great theme in which to guide you this year. Just allow whatever comes up to come up there. And we're just going to take 5 minutes here on this next sheet as well, where it says success, self-care, relationships, and fun. Just invite you to write some specific intentions of what you would like to accomplish this year in these 4 areas. just know with this process of intentions that the process is not complete yet. And you're going to want to go back to these intentions. But you'll notice on the next page here, and if you don't have a page, you can write that down. It says accountability. Can you think of anyone who you can share your intentions with, who's willing to support you in seeing you achieving those and talking with you about them and uplifting you in them? Perhaps, especially if you have relationship intentions, this is a great thing to go over with them. And whether yes or no, I want to invite you as well. I'm going to create 4 Zoom gatherings this year quarterly to check in on these intentions. And all you need to do to sign up is just email me. My name's Josh, and the email is jreeves, R-E-E-V-E-S, @milehighchurch.org. Just email me that you're interested in being involved, and I'll send you an email with the info. They're totally free, and would love to provide that for one another. And just a few other things I want to share about intentions as you finalize these, hopefully later in the day or in the coming week. The first is, and I mentioned this before, go through your intentions and ask yourself, am I setting this intention from a place of my wholeness, from a true desire for my well-being, or from a place of my brokenness, my sense of being incomplete or not enough? And if it's the latter, cross out those intentions and rewrite them from a place of wanting to express your wholeness. This isn't about resolutions and getting down on ourselves if we don't meet the criteria of trying to create ourselves into who we aren't. It's about more fully being who we are. So if you're aiming too high, it's just as dangerous perhaps as aiming too low. Allow yourself to set your intentions from that place of wholeness, of expressing yourself. Third, for me, there are 3 different types of intentions. The first kind are my favorite kind. They're guiding intentions. They're kind of like your theme. And these are intentions that we set forth. They are very wide-reaching, but you aren't so attached to fulfilling them just in that way. They're like a guiding star. There's something you follow along your way. And so Daniel Nahmad's greatest guiding intention for me is that he has a vision of writing a great song in every great genre of music. Now, he may never quite achieve that, but what a great goal to follow and to write so much wonderful music in between. Yours might be to live in love and harmony. What a wonderful guiding intention. And then you see what spirit grows as you're following that guide. The next type of intention is an overarching intention. This might be to get in better shape. It might be to save your marriage. It might be to meet a new partner. It might be to start a business or to write a book. These overarching intentions are wonderful, but they need the third type of intention, which is specific intentions. So if your intention is to write a book, wonderful overarching intention, but follow it up with, I will write on Monday mornings. I will write on Friday evenings. I will intend to write 10 pages a week. Follow that up. I'm ready for a relationship. Well, just being ready is a wonderful thing, but what are you willing to do to connect with others, to be the person you want to find and start shaping up things that may be unattractive to a partner that you want to bring in? So those overarching intentions are wonderful, but make sure you follow them up with those specific intentions. And also, if you have specific intentions, things that you want to do, try to connect them with an overarching intention, because that can help you catch when they are perhaps founded not from that wholeness place, but that sense of insecurity or sense of brokenness. Another great opportunity as we complete here today is there are 3 great workshops coming up. They're facilitated by our Mile High Church practitioners. Really grateful to Lauren Martin, who's doing a workshop called Rebel with a Purpose, all about rediscovering and cultivating your passion. Really grateful to my friend Kevin Lockwood, who's going to be doing a workshop called Creating and Sustaining Your 2021 Vision and Goals. So that's going to be available as well. And then really grateful to Holly Duckworth and her partner, Szymanski. Eric, I hope I'm saying your name right, and you'll have an opportunity to learn more about relationships, chaos to calm in a crazy world of relationships. Wow, that's a great theme for 2020, but we could move through it for 2021. And just before we close today as well, this has been a free online workshop, but the church is receiving money, as you probably know. And so just know that we're receiving a love donation for this workshop and for the Zoom workshops as well. Whatever's in your heart to give, just know that as you give it, it just helps fuel this incredible spiritual community, all the energy that we've created for our intentions, and helps manifest them not only in our own lives, but the intentions of this beautiful Mile High Church as well. So thanks for giving via text, the 45888, going through the donate button, particularly on this page for this website, or you can always mail something in and just write intention setting on the bottom so we can track the gifts that we got for this event. So I just want to close this workshop with a prayer on my end, and then I'm going to pass it back to Tom. Thank you for that beautiful playing, by the way, there, Tom, who, I just asked him to play something he loves for us to get us going in the year. And so just briefly, just please join me, if you will, just in a moment of prayer, knowing that co-creative partner that is the divine life itself, which we all live in and experience, but we might just as well say we don't know anything about. That's how grand and infinite this divine partner is, this divine creativity. And it's in each of us. As we learn to move through any old ideas of viewing life that no longer serve us, and to realize that there is something profoundly good, deeply loving, and incredibly creative within us. As we commit to live with this power, I know it not only shows up as crystal clear, fun intentions today, but in divine reminders, upliftments, relationships, and inspiration. Just like Dumbledore and Harry Potter would say that help comes to those at Hogwarts, to those who ask. Help comes to those of us who are willing to co-create our lives with a universal presence, with the divine spirit. To be willing, we might call it magic, but it's really just the divine nature of being. To rationally step into realizing we live in this incredible life, not for dying or receding, but for evolving, for growing, for inspiring, and for emphatic living. We allow all of the intentions set by the hundreds and hundreds of people taking place at this. We nurture all of them. Your intention is my intention. My intention is your intention. We unleash this creative energy here and now and allow it to become in joy. And so it is. Amen.
This wasn't on the list of songs I was going to do, but I want to do this one. Let's see this. You will do amazing, you will do amazing. You will do amazing things with the choice each day brings, and with every step you take, that's the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love yourself, love your dreams, 'cause you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing.
Tom Litch, and thanks again for being with us today. Thank you, Laura Jacob. Thank you to our incredible production team here, Richard, Mac, Nathan, Rama, and thanks to our practitioners. Again, those workshops start at 11:45 a.m. Mountain Time through Zoom. Find the links again through our website. And Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us today, everybody.